Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town.
And we are live, Mets fans. Thank you all so much for being here for another episode here at New York Mets Talk. I feel like it's been forever since we actually, both Richie and myself, were able to get back together. But Richie, how are you today, my friend? And guys, again, thank you all so much for chiming in. I appreciate every single one of you. But Richie, how's it going?
It's going very well. I'm so excited to be here talking New York Mets baseball with you. It does feel like it's been way too long. I don't know when the last time we talked, but a lot has happened since then. The New York Mets are coming off a great performance against the San Diego Padres, split the series, and I'm just so excited to talk about the Mets because there's so much that we can dig deep into, whether it's the phenomenal performances from the GOAT, whether it's Stroman, Francisco Lindor, James McCann, but you guys know what's good. This is Richie from Mets Media, and I'm super excited to talk Mets baseball with you, Tyler. So everybody in the chat, welcome in, sit back, relax, smash that like button, subscribe to Wardy, and don't forget to subscribe to Mets Media as well. And we're going to get deep into everything regarding the New York Mets. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, my man. And again, thank you all so much, everyone just chiming in. I really appreciate it, guys. I see a donation here from Ghostwave, 99 cents. Thank you so much, buddy. I hope you're enjoying the tumbler that I sent his way. He was the winner of a raffle that we did on the channel over the past month. Joey, what's up, buddy? Bryce, Wilson, Joy Rock. Let's see. Lakala, how are you? Everybody, Braden, Ryan, Brendan, a great member here on the channel. Luis, what's up, buddy? Bryce and Sandy, what is up, my man? My day's going great. Yeah, I know. It's been great. Awesome. And Dave, a great subscriber here on the channel, is the reason why I have this beautiful Mets tumbler here. What is up, Dave? How are you today, my friend? Christopher, Aiden, appreciate all you guys chiming in. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe on. Guys, our goal was to get a 7K by today. We're probably not going to get there, but we are damn close, just around 80 subs away. That's crazy. Thank you so much for the push. I appreciate you guys. This has been so much fun working on the channel. But Richie, let's just dive in because we got a lot to talk about, and I'm really excited to talk about this Mets series because even with all these injuries, with the replaced Mets, if you will, the Mets look damn good in this series. And now let's get right into it now in this Padres series recap. The Mets split the series, as we know, but trust me when I say that the Mets were the better team in this series, and I don't think there is anyone that could say otherwise. Yes, the Mets lost the first two games. They won the second two games. The Mets outscored the Padres total in these, and they give them a run for their money in their first two games, big time, versus their wins, which in my personal opinion, and the numbers will back, were far more impressive. So let's start off with game one, Richie. Let's hear your thoughts on it. The Mets lost this one. This was a tough pill to swallow, but it was definitely great to see how competitive the Mets were. They lost 4-3. This is when Yu Darvish was on the mound and all the controversy with all the sticky stuff in his glove was going on from the video that went viral. And Taijuan Walker was on the bump, and he didn't have his best outing, but it was still serviceable. The Mets lost 4-3 in this game one. Francisco Lindor won 1 for 3 on the day, was continuing his hot streak into this series. He had 2 runs and a walk. James McCann, who I'm so excited to talk about plenty in this live stream today. Went 1 for 4, including 2 RBIs, thanks to a beautiful 2-run bomb. Billy McKinney, I'm excited to talk about him as well. Went 1 for 3 on the day in that game 1. Mason Williams, coming from AAA over the past week or so, went 1 for 2. Tomas Nido Pinchain went 1 for 1, and Jose Peraza went 1 for 3 as your notable hitters in this game. And then outside of the pitching, Taijuan Walker gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. As we know, he also gave up a home run to Fernando Tatis Jr. Dead center that Mason Williams just couldn't handle. It was in his glove, then it popped out when he tried to bring it back in. Just an unfortunate turn of events. But we're going to get into that some more. And then he had 4 walks, so not his best outing. He still has a 2.17 ERA on the season, though. Jacob Barnes had 2 innings pitched, no earned runs, and then Aaron Loop had himself an inning pitch with no problems. So, Richie, what's your quick stance on this game as the Mets went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position and left 7 on base?
Yeah, man, this was the game where I really wanted to set the tone early and get a W with Taijuan Walker on the mound. He's been, I mean, you can't even say he's been the best pitcher on the staff because of Jacob Degrom. But outside of Stroman, you could have made the argument that Walker's having a better season than Stroman so far. But then we see what Stroman did yesterday. And I was hoping that we can, see a really interesting matchup between Yu Darvish and Taijuan Walker. That's exactly what we did. And unfortunately, we did not see the Walker that we're used to. He didn't have his traditional stuff. He went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So, honestly, you cannot blame Taijuan Walker in this. I feel like this is not on him. You cannot expect him to have a sub-2 ERA for the entire season. That was just way too good to be true. But his ERA is still 2.17, which is ridiculous. But this was a game where we left a lot of men on base. We were not able to bring him in where it mattered the most. And that's where it came down to. I love that Francisco Lindor is getting hot. I know we're going to talk about him more in depth. And it was just James McCann went deep on Yu Darvish, which is great to see. We're going to get into him a ton as well. But I wanted this game, and when we lost this game, and then with Joey Lucchesi on the mound the game after that, I did not have a lot of optimism going into the rest of the series. But, hey, we lost this game, but we definitely bounced back. Not the game after this, but 2 games after this.
Yeah, man. And look, even though that this was a tough 4-3 loss, what I will say is the Mets were pesky as all hell. They worked it all the way to the last out, and they did the same exact thing here in game 2, which they did, in fact, lose 2-0. But I want to give a huge hats off to my man and Joey Fuego. Look, Joey started off the year really rocky for the Mets, coming out both the pen and being a guy in the 5th starter. But his past 2 to 3 outings have been really serviceable. He had himself a really strong outing against San Diego, which, might I add, was impressive enough against his former team. He had a chip on his shoulder. He had something to prove. And I liked a lot from what I saw from Joey. So let's start off with the pitching, actually, and this 2-0 loss, because Joey, in 4.2 innings pitched, only gave up 1 run and had himself 3 strikeouts. His ERA is sub-6 now, which is good to see. And he has started a chirp celebration that the whole team is doing, where they're just doing the chirp. You love to see it. I think it's also a little bit of a mockery towards the Padres, because they do that as one of their sillies as well. So I thought that was actually pretty funny. But Jacob Barnes gave up no runs, 0.1 innings pitch. You had Drew Smith, who did give up a run in 1.2 innings pitch. Dries Familia gave up no runs, 0.1 innings pitch. And Trevor May closed the door and gave up no runs in the last inning for the Mets. But now getting on to the hitters, what was noticeable to me in this game, even though the Mets lost, and they had a no-hitter going for the Padres by Blake Snell going fairly deep in the game. And, of course, Francisco Lindor breaks it up because he is back. The swing is back. He's looking confident. He went for 2 for 4 on the day. And that's all you can really see. Pete Alonso had 1 hit. I believe that was one of his only hits of the entire series. He wasn't looking great. But the Mets, there isn't too much to say about this game. I don't want to expand on it too much. I just know that Blake Snell was rolling pretty quick. It's the same thing that Yu Darvish was, because Yu Darvish had a no-hitter going into 4 or 5 innings against the Mets in game 1. And I will say, though, the Mets were 0 for 4 in scoring position and left, of course, 5 on base. So is there anything else you'd like to add on from this game, too? I love the fight that the Mets brought, because they had Melanson, who's been the best closer in the MLB this season, with literally not even a 1 ERA, I believe, on the year. Having him to have to come in back-to-back nights when he got worked both nights, might I add. A couple guys got on base both times. The Mets couldn't get the job done at the end of the day, but it was impressive to see what they were doing, knowing that they were jumping on the best closer in baseball when they had such a depleted lineup.
Yeah, man, this was one of those games where you're just hoping that we do not get no hit. I know everyone was tweeting out there, no hitter alert, because, whenever there's a no hitter coming, especially on the Mets, you don't traditionally bring it up because you want it to happen. But that was the opposite for Mets fans. We want to make sure that did not happen. And I love that Francisco Lindor was the one that broke up the no hitter. And I just love the speed, because he went from first to third on a single that went by the left fielder. And I felt like that sparked some energy within the clubhouse. But unfortunately, Francisco Lindor was left at third base with no outs. But that's what this team's all about. They fight, they are pesky, and they build on losses. And what I mean by that is they learn from mistakes, and they do not get too low when they're losing, and they don't get too high when they're winning. They're very even-keeled, and that's the one thing I've noticed from this Mets club. For the first 2 games of the series, we lost back-to-back games. The Mets easily could have lost their confidence and said, oh, my God, I mean, we're a little overmatched. This Padres seems legit. We're all the way out here on the West Coast. We're not used to the time. But no, we got 2 of our best pitchers of the rotation coming up next in Degrom and Stroman. They buckled in, and we know how great Degrom and Stroman did, and we're going to get into that. But the offense woke up. The first 2 games was a little worrisome. We were getting no hit in the first half of both games back-to-back. And it was like, okay, where are these hitters at? And then we really woke up the bats in game 3 and 4 of the series.
Yeah, man. And let's get right into it. But before I do, again, I just want to say thank you all so much to everyone just chiming in. New York Aviation, you said you burnt your hand with pizza. I'm sorry to hear that. Member on the channel. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Ban Santana, Larry, thank you for the kind words, my man. We got ourselves an Orioles fan here. Julian, right timing as the Mets are matching up with the Orioles. We'll be talking about previewing that series. Silver Wolf, what's up, buddy? And Aiden, we're going to get into the whole more discussion on the cheating stuff towards the end of the stream, so stay tuned for that. I have a lot to say, but again, I appreciate all you being here, guys. It does mean a lot. Help us get a 50 likes for the first short-term goal, and help us get a 7K subs, guys, by today's deadline. If we can't get it, it's no problem, but it would really mean a lot. So now let's get into Game 3. Jacob Degrom is on the mound, facing off against one of the best pitchers in the NL as well, respectively, in Joe Musgrove. If you guys don't remember, Joe Musgrove was traded from the Pirates to the Padres in that 3-team deal that landed Joey Fuego going to the Mets, coincidentally enough. So Musgrove with a 2.12 ERA going into this game. He was rolling fairly early, but so was Jacob Degrom. And Jake, what can I say about this man? Before we get to him, though, let's talk about the hits, because the Mets won 4-0 in this game. They gave run support to Jake, and they got 13 goddamn hits. Are you joking? You're talking the narrative won't continue now? I guess not. Let's deep dive back-to-back starts now for Jake, where he has gone at least multiple runs for the win in the end. So McKinney went 1 for 5 on the night. He's been such a star in the making for the Mets that they got him for absolutely nothing. A lower tier prospect, might I add. Francisco Lindor went 2 for 5 on the night. Had himself, of course, 2 runs, and I believe he also had himself a solo shot for a home run, which is awesome. Pete Alonso went 1 for 5 on the night. Dom Smith 1 for 3. We also see Kevin Pillar, Superman, had an RBI, went 2 for 5 on the night. Tomas Nido 1 for 4. Travis Blankenhorn, who's from right outside of where I reside in Pottsville, PA, he went 1 for 2 on the day, for his first hit as a New York Met. Then we had Jonathan VR coming as a pinch hitter, still went 2 for 3 on the day, because of course he did. Degrom did not get any hits, but it's okay. They didn't need it in the end. Brandon Drury won 1 for 1. Pinch hitting, and Jose Peraza had himself an RBI solo shot, 1 for 3. Now Jacob Degrom, let's talk about something that is simply Degrominate, and that is Jake. Going into this game, he had a 0.7 plus ERA, but how this game he comes out with a 0.62 ERA. Simply phenomenal what he's doing. He's the best pitcher since we're talking, I believe it's like the early 1900s. What he's doing at this point in the season is remarkable. 7 innings pitched, no runs, 3 hits allowed, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. Jake had 33 pitches in this game with 100 miles per hour or more. He topped out just near, I believe he was a 0.1 short of 102 miles per hour in one of his pitches. This guy, let me throw this stat out for you, Richie. Jacob Degrom has right around 100 pitches this season with 100 mile per hour velocity or more. Mm-hmm. Guess what the second best starting pitcher has?
What was the number again?
Jake has right around 100 of them.
I mean, I know it's going to be a large margin, so my guess is 34.
Dude, not even 10.
Not even 10.
Not even 10.
Not even 10.
You know how many guys it takes to add up after Jake to reach Jake? It's unheard of. It is stupid. He's literally, it's not even fair, dude.
We have the greatest pitcher of the generation that we live in on the New York Mets. I just want to remind you guys. I know you guys knew that, but Don't take it for granted. We're witnessing history.
And again, thank you all so much for chiming in, guys. I'll answer some of your comments after I'm talking about what I'm about to say here. Seth Lugo, though, comes in. He gave up 1 run in his first outing of the season. That was against the D-backs. In this outing, though, he got out of a little bit of a jam, gave up no runs in 1 innings pitch, and then Diaz closed the door in impressive-ass fashion. He has a 3.09 ERA on the year. The Mets win this one. They went for only 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position, left 13 on base, but they still got the job done when they needed. The replaced Mets are here, and they're actually doing pretty damn well, given all the circumstances. And just like that, the Mets found themselves only 1 game away from splitting the series. That's ultimately what they end up doing. So, Richie, what's your thoughts on this game 3? Do you want to expand more on Jake? Do you want to talk about Lindor's hot streak continuing? Let me hear it.
Yeah, man, this was an awesome game to watch. It was just every time Jacob Degrom's on the mound, you feel a sense of energy in the air when you wake up. You just know something great is going to happen whenever you turn on the TV, whether it's 10 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night. So what Jacob Degrom is doing, I'm just preparing myself mentally to be blown away every single night. And it's to the point where we're all expecting greatness, but he still blows us away, if that makes sense. His ability to just be a master on the mound and master his mechanics, master the velocity, the location. You can see how much of a perfectionist he really is because he throws the ball, way outside. He gets the ball back, and you see his body language is so frustrated. It's like, no, that's not who I am. He grounds himself, and then he has his timing, that pace that we love to see from Jake, and then he just gets his pitch right. And then the slider, man, the slider from Jake has been probably the best of his career so far this season. Undoubtedly, and the fastball. And now he's throwing in some curveballs. I think he threw his second curveball of the season.
Yeah, he did.
And it was like for a ground ball out. But man, Jacob Degrom, what else can you say? 7 innings, 11 strikeouts, 1 run, and his ERA is all the way down to a 0.6 something. And it's just
what his whip is.
Undoubtedly. I don't even know, man. What is it?
0.57.
Okay, guys, we're witnessing history. I know you guys know this already, but Jacob Degrom is on pace to win MVP. Throw the Cy Young out the window. He's going to win MVP if he continues this. If he can continue hitting, and I think was this his first start without a hit? I don't think that's the stat, but I know his average is like
he's had I think 2 other starts maybe without a hit.
Just because I know his average is through the roof, so you expect that. But Jacob Degrom, if he continues to hit the ball like he's been all season, and he can just do. We can't expect Jake to do this for the entire season. Obviously, I'm not going to put a cap on his season. That is definitely possible. But Jacob Degrom is on pace to have one of the, if not the greatest season of starting pitching in the MLB in history. Like, that's how crazy this is. We already knew that Jacob Degrom had won back-to-back Cy Youngs, and he's already labeled themselves as, we're already talking about him and Tom Seaver because those are the 2 greatest pitchers of franchise history, and Dwight Gooden. And everyone keeps reminding us, for the people that watch Dwight Gooden, the people that watch Tom Seaver, the older, generation that was lucky enough to witness Tom Seaver and Dwight Gooden. Tyler and I, and a lot of you guys in the chat, we never got to experience Tom Seaver and Dwight Gooden because we were young. We were not born yet. Now we got our own flesh and blood of somebody that we developed through the farm. We drafted in the 9th round, and he won Rookie of the Year. He had the flow. He brought us. He didn't bring us, but he was a big contributor to a World Series team. And then he cuts his hair and he becomes the next level stud. And he's 32 years old. He's getting better with age. And I just feel like Jacob Degrom deserves, a lot of minute runtime on this, whatever this is, a podcast, live show, because I know Mets fans appreciate him, but we need to appreciate him way more than we even are, because it's unbelievable what we're witnessing. This does not happen every single year. This is generational. Everything he's doing is going to be in the history books. And we're going to look back at this era of Jacob Degrom and be like, wow, I'm so thankful that I was alive and a Mets fan, even a fan of baseball. Not even Mets fans are appreciating this. Everybody that's a fan of the baseball understands the greatness of Jacob Degrom. So thank you, Jake, and continue it, man. This is just something special.
If Jake continue, and before we get to game 4, guys, and again, thank you all so much for being here. I see some awesome comments in the chat. I appreciate you all so much. I want to say this about Jake, and we'll get on to the supposed cheating stuff. I'm excited to talk about that too, because I got a whole rant to go on. But don't you worry, it's nothing bad. It's not going to bother anyone. At least it shouldn't. But Jacob Degrom, if he continues what he is doing right now, not just for the remainder of the season, but going into his mid to hopefully, latter half 30s, if he just continues the direction that he's currently on, he's going to finish his career as one of the best pitchers of all time. What we are seeing now, and I'm seeing it from a lot of very established both players and fans in the game that have witnessed the greats from decades prior, they're saying they've never seen something like Jacob Degrom before. He is literally doing that immaculate every single fifth day, to the point where it like when I'm watching it myself, I feel like I'm playing MLB The Show, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like how he is pinpointing his slider, and I love it because I can call what he's doing because he's so damn predictable, and the hitters I'm almost certain know exactly what's coming a lot of the times because this guy's just rolling that heater and the slider. That's basically it. He's basically doing his Edwin Diaz impression. It's just 2 pitches. They know what to expect. If it's 0-2, if you're getting caught, he's going slider down and away. Or if he just wants slider down the way, he's probably going to go heater up and in. You know what the F is going to happen, and yet they simply have no shot. No shot. They are making the best hitters in the game look absolutely stupid. And that is what is standing out the most to me. It's not like he's just doing this against bottom feeders. This was his biggest test of the season. Exactly. Yes, I know that Fernando Tatis got an opposite field double off of him. That probably would have been a single if the outfielder wasn't playing so deep. But Fernando Tatis should have been out the second time around. But regardless, my point, though, because it was an error by Lindor, I believe. But my point, though, is that he's doing this to the best hitters in the game, and that was his biggest matchup so far, to one of the best teams in the league.
Made Machado look silly.
That is what I would call a preview of a possible, playoff matchup. If that's not maybe going into the divisional or something, that very well could be, if that's not going to be possibly the NLCS, that very well could be the wild card if for whatever reason the Mets don't win the division. That is what is the X factor. Jacob Degrom is the X factor. It doesn't matter what lineup you have. He will be the X factor, and that is what stood out the most to me, and that is why I'm so excited to get into this final game of the series to recap it. But before I do that, again, thank you all so much for being here, guys. It really means a lot. LGB with the donation. It means a lot. Like Mark says, Degrom aged like a fine wine. Absolutely, LGB, guys. Give Dono hype in the chat at LGB. He's a Braves fan. He's happy his Braves just beat the Dodgers. So kudos to you, LGB. All love here, my man. And Dave with a $5 donation. Thank you so much, my man. Love you both. Guys, get some dono hype in the chat and help us get a 50 likes if you haven't already, and 7K subs, and make sure to subscribe to my man Richie at Mets Media. But now getting into game 4. 4-game series. Mets win this one. Stro show indeed. I have a lot to say about Stroman, but let's get into it. They went 6-2. They out-hit the Padres 10-6, and this was the 4th consecutive game where Marcus Stroman went at least 6 innings. That is insanity. Billy McKinney leading off this game, had himself, of course, 2 hits out of the 5 at-bats, another RBI. Billy McKinney is so damn clutch for this team. I'm loving him every second. We got Pete Alonso, 1 for 3 on the day, had himself an RBI, had a good game. We see Dominic Smith, who's been red hot the past 2 weeks, and it's kind of a sleeper hot. I don't think a lot of you guys are noticing how well Dom's been, especially past 7 games. He's batting .400, just as an FYI. Dom has went now 1 for 3 in this game, including an RBI. James McCann had himself his only other hit of the series. James McCann went 2 for 12 in the series, but had himself another 2-run bomb. That's 2 RBIs for him in this one. And then you get other guys too, like Mason Williams, 1 for 4 on the day. Brandon Drury, 1 for 4. We see Jose Peraza, 2 for 4, including 2 runs scored. Marcus Stroman with himself an actual double for an RBI, dude. That Ron Darling called himself. Shout out to Ron. He said, hit a double. It's a hitter's park for pitchers, and that's what he did. Bartolo Colon famously hit his home run against James Shields and Petco Park, as we know. But just awesome stuff there. Now getting into the pitching, Stro show, baby. 6.2 innings pitch, gave up 4 hits, 1 run, no earned runs because the 1 run was by his error, believe it or not. We're going to get into that. So 4 walks, 7 Ks, 2.41 ERA on the season for Stro show now. We got Miguel Castro just over an inning pitch, no runs. And of course, Trevor May shuts the door. He gives up a run, but he's still able to shut the door in the end. So overall solid. But Mets go in this game 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. That's what I like to see. 500 in those limited chances and left 4 on base. Stroman and Pete Alonso had probably one of the flukiest errors you will ever see that led to a run. Stroman got a little cocky, got a little lackadaisical, little comeback or a roller. He underhand tosses it to, I believe, Pete, that just falls short. Then Pete, when he's going for it in the corner, he throws it right in the dirt. I don't know what he was doing, but then it goes from literally what would have been not just easy ground out. It's a triple. So that brings in a run, and that was that on Tatis? I think it was, no less. But regardless, it didn't affect the Mets because Stroman made up for it with his double RBI. So let me hear your thoughts on that, your Stroshow's performance, and this overall Mets team rallying back to split the series before they head to Baltimore.
Yeah, this was one of those games where we needed to win because we lost the series if you lose. If you win it, then it's a tie because it was a 4-game skid. And what Marcus Stroman showed us is his ability to be a master at forcing people to ground out. That bases loaded jam he got out, and you got to tip your caps to Drury at third base for making that crazy double play.
Dude, literally on his knees, a piss missile of a bullet.
Oh my God.
To first base, dude.
Unfortunately, this game I was unable to watch because I was out of my house, like I told you, Tyler, and I was on vacation for the weekend. So I was following the game on my phone and like on the MLB app, so I couldn't watch it, but I can see. And I looked at and I saw that bases loaded, 1 out, and Stroman's on the mound. And I was like, oh no, this is crazy. And I can't watch the game visually, so I'm watching it, as game day. And then literally right when I turn on the phone, then I see inning over. And I'm like, no way he grounded into a double play. And then I go on Twitter and I see the replay of Drury, and I'm like, mind blown. Like, what the hell? How did I miss that? Like, that was insane. He ripped it down the third base line. He picks it up, slaps the tag with his glove, and just not even gets up from his knees, just fires it so lackadaisically across the diamond to get him out. Double play, side retired. Stroman's hyped up. Awesome to see Marcus Stroman. He is easily becoming one of my favorite Mets on this team. I really hope they extend him. I'm buying his jersey immediately if we ever extend him. But everything about Marcus Stroman, whether it's his energy, his enthusiasm, his ability to change up his rhythms, his ability to make people, ground out whenever he needs to, he's just it's so awesome because we have so many awesome pitchers on this team. Obviously, the greatest pitcher of all time is Jacob Degrom, and Marcus Stroman, and Taijuan Walker. Like, they're all different in their own ways, especially Stroman and Degrom. Like, you can't really compare Degrom to anybody, but the way they play the game is so different, and that's what's so awesome about baseball as a sport and as a pitcher, because you can be really good at doing the same thing. What do you have to do as a pitcher? Don't give up runs. So you're Jacob Degrom, you're a powerhouse, you're striking people out, and you're just pumping 100 miles per hour down their throats, or you're Marcus Stroman, and you have that sinker, you have that changeup where people are just, getting their barrel on it and just forcing it to ground ball. So that's the unique thing about baseball that I love, and Stroman is just such a pivotal part to this team, especially with the injuries that we have. We do not have any depth on the starting pitching rotation, unfortunately, right now. But Joey Lucchesi stepping up, that's going to be a huge factor because we know Carlos Carrasco is still back from his injury. We know that Yamamoto's on the 60-day IL. So right now, our 5-man rotation, Degrom, Stroman, Walker, Peterson, Lucchesi. Peterson it's either he's 6 innings, no hits, or it's 1 inning of getting blown up.
He's Steven Matz's heir apparent.
Literally. And then
it's just ironic given that he's a southpaw,
That is very ironic. But my point basically is Marcus Stroman is stepping up big time to be the ace next to Jacob Degrom. And when it comes to the hitting in this game, this game unfortunately ended the Francisco Lindor hitting streak. I think he had like a 6 or 7 game hitting streak.
He had 8-game hitting streak.
8-game hitting streak, and he went 0 for 4, unfortunately. But Francisco Lindor is batting .218. I know that's not a good average, but he's batting like over 400 in the past couple of weeks. Where the hell are all the Lindor haters at? I want to talk to each and every one of the people that were booing him. I understand that we were frustrated that he was not, putting the barrel to the ball. He was looking right out at the plate, but you really got to tip your cap to a guy like him because there's so much pressure on him to support the contract. And obviously, he has $40 million per year. He should be batting .450. Like, you got to realize it's not easy to go to a new market, especially the New York City market, support that contract, and win over the fan base that easily. So you got to give Francisco Lindor a lot of credit mentally because you know how hard it is to feel like you're not doing your job right and to have the entire fan base telling you that you're doing it wrong and you're not worth the money. Like, that's not easy to get through mentally. So he deserves a lot of credit, and hopefully this is the beginning of a consistent Francisco Lindor for the rest of the season.
And I loved your point in how polar opposite, not just Stroh and Jake are, but let's just take the 3-head monster for the Mets rotation because the Mets don't really have a solidified 4th or 5th starter. And that went into my last video, guys. Make sure to check it out. What?
Tom Thibodeau just won Coach of the Year.
Yo, let's go, dudes,
No
guys,
way.
Knicks fans. Hey, I'll take that. That's awesome.
Oh my God, I have to make a video like right now. Oh my God.
It's okay. If you got to take a break or whatever, that's fine. I know that's important. But dude,
Yeah.
that's nuts. I'm so happy for you. I'm
Wow,
happy to be a Knicks fan with stuff
I
like
did not
that.
expect that. That's why I'm really surprised. I really did not think he was going to win it. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is a Mets channel, but that's huge. Let's go, Tibbs.
That's huge, dude. Here's what we'll do. After we get, as long as it's fine with you, after we get done with the Orioles preview, I'll get you out of here. I'll take callers myself because I know you're going to want to do a video on that.
All right, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
All right. Yeah, no, that guys, Knicks fans. I know that we're not all Knicks fans here, but that's big. That's big.
Wow.
He deserved it. He absolutely deserved it. Yeah, basically the same roster from, not to get on a tangent, but to see them make playoffs, that's sick. So I'm happy. I'm beyond happy for them. But okay, what I want to say though is I made a video. Last video on the channel was, of course, regarding starting pitchers that could be dealt to the New York Mets as possible targets. Make sure to check it out, guys. And I had a lot of fun doing that. But my point, though, as you were saying, Richie, is you got Jacob Degrom. What is he known for? He's a strikeout king. This guy will strike you out more often than not. That is his bread and butter. Marcus Stroman, what's his bread and butter? It's groundouts. And what is Taijuan Walker's bread and butter? It's flyouts. I love it. They are all completely different as a three-headed monster for the Mets in this rotation. That makes me really happy. And before we go any forward, guys, before we go into the preview of the Orioles series, I just want to say, again, thank you all so much for being here. It really does mean a lot, guys. Darren, a great subscriber here on the channel, my man, all the way from the UK, guys, the best Mets fan in the UK you will ever meet. Thank you so much for all the great comments and words, as always, Darren. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Roberto with some great thoughts here. Zurice, we're comparing Pearson and Matt strictly on their struggles in either first inning, because that's what Matt's was known for, and also them being a southpaw. It's nothing more than that. We don't always need to go deep in our claims here. And then we see Charles, how's it going, my man? Jameson, Jose, absolutely. Sam, thank you all so much for being here again, guys. I appreciate all your kind words and thoughts as always. So with that being said, guys, we're going to now segue into a preview into the upcoming series against the Orioles. But if you haven't already, make sure to smash that like and subscribe on in the stream. Help us get to 100 likes before the end of the stream. It would really mean a lot, guys. And if you don't know, if you're a Knicks fan, breaking news, Thibodeau has in fact won the Coach of the Year. So Richie's excited for that. He's going to get a video on that real soon for all my Knicks fans. Make sure to check it out. But guys, now we're going to talk about the Baltimore Orioles, which I'm really excited for, honestly. I think this is going to be a more entertaining series than what it was last time, because the Orioles have sneakily started to heat up as of late. They just came off of their biggest win of the season. They had a terrible May. They didn't even have more than like 5 wins in May, but they were starting off red hot in June. They won 18-5 yesterday against Cleveland. Cedric Mullins has been one of the best hitters in baseball the past week or so. He has been on absolute fire. He's one of my favorite players in the Orioles, along with the legend himself and Trey Mancini. But they've been heating up lately. They're 21-38 on the season, however, and starting pitching has been their downfall. And their ace in the southpaw, John Means, who pitched a no-hitter this year, is in fact on the 10-day IL currently with injury. The Mets are going to be matched up, I believe, against a rookie southpaw tomorrow night, and that's going to be Mr. Matt Harvey, who Matt Harvey has been doing horrendous since, coincidentally enough, he faced the Mets when I was at that game over the past month. So to get into it a little bit further, guys, again, the Orioles are just around 20 games or so under 500. Cedric Mullins has been the absolute killer in their offense as of late. He's batting .322 on the season. He's a speedy outfielder. Could run the base pass well, 26 years of age, 9 home runs, 18 RBIs, and a 923 RPS and 9 stolen bases. I know a lot of you guys, actually, some people suggested the Mets should go after Cedric Mullins in the offseason for outfield help. And I didn't even know as much about him, but man, he's showing off and proving himself well. He's been a pleasure to watch. And of course, Trey Mancini, the legend himself, .273 average, coming back all the way from cancer. A beauty, 11 home runs, 44 RBIs, 833 OPS. He's a beast. I know some of you guys would like him as a New York Met, possibly. Ryan Mountcastle has been a stud for them as well. Their first baseman, he has a .254 average, 8 home runs, 30 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases, and a .729 OPS. And then when you get onto their pitching, though, that has been the issue. John Means has been their star, and that's literally been it, unfortunately, for the Orioles. Matt Harvey is second on the team in wins with 3 wins, but Harvey going into Wednesday's game, which will be the second game of the series against the two, he has a 6.62 ERA, and he has been horrid in the past couple starts, but easily over 10 ERA. I mean, he has 45 strikeouts, a 1.61 whip, 3 wins, 6 losses on the year. And the Mets, I believe, are facing off against a rookie southpaw, if my memory is not mistaken, tomorrow. So Mets pitching, how it's going to look if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be David Pearson on the mound tomorrow for the Mets. And I probably won't be streaming tomorrow night's game because I have an awesome video coming out on the channel, and I plan to do it prospect related. So stay tuned for that, guys. But I will be streaming Wednesday's game with Harvey on the mound against Walker round 2 because they are the same exact 2 that matched up already. I'm excited to get into that. But yeah, so it'll be David Pearson against Zimmerman. Zimmerman is 3-3 on the season with a 4.96 ERA, and David Pearson is 1-4 on the season with a sub-6 ERA. This might very well be David's last start for a little bit if he does not bounce back, which he very well should, and should take advantage of a depleted team in the Baltimore Orioles, even given how hot they've been as of late. And then in that game 2 of the series, we got ourselves Taijuan Walker, 2.17 ERA with 4 wins and 2 losses. So Richie, what's your stance on this upcoming series? Are you excited to see another matchup against Harvey, and hopefully the Mets can jump on him? Let me hear it.
Yeah, we better run up on Harvey all over again. I know you witnessed that live, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, man, I feel like this is a team that's hot right now. We're coming off 2 wins against a good Padres team on the West Coast, and now we got to go take care of business. It's only a 2-game series. I don't think it's too much to ask for a series sweep. If it was 3 games, maybe, but this is a Baltimore Orioles team that is the bottom feeder of the AL East, and it's a team that we should be able to beat again. We beat up on them earlier on the season, so let's do it all over again. I feel like that this is the series I want to see the bats really take over, because I know that Peterson, you never know what we're getting, and I want to see, a high-scoring game. Obviously, I don't want to see our pitchers give up a lot of runs, but let's see the offense really start to click, because I feel like James McCann coming to his own, Francisco Lindor getting hot, Pete Alonso driving runners in, Dom Smith becoming a very underrated part to the lineup, Kevin Pillar finally healthy and making impactful plays, Peraza, Drury. I mean, we got a lot of guys that are playing a lot of time and playing good baseball. So hopefully this offense can really start to click, and I feel like this could be an opportunity for us to just explode as an offense. I don't really care who we're going up against on the mound, because when we're clicking as a unit from 1 through 9, on the batting lineup, we're a scary club. And I feel like the camaraderie and the chemistry within this organization, within the clubhouse of the Mets, is a big reason why we are so good, because the next man up mentality is real. And you could tell that they support each other and they have a different type of friendship brewing. And I'm just excited for the series, and I think our offense is going to carry us.
Yeah, man, I do too. And I think this is another great look. The Mets look damn impressive against the D-backs. Should have swept that series, but they took 2 out of 3. Then they go into the Padres. I think you could argue the second or third best team in all of the MLB possibly. And they split that series with this lineup when they were the better team all series long. That's unbelievably confident. This team is coming together. And Richie, before we kind of wrap up and get you out of here and I start taking callers, I want to know your stance on Luis Rojas, because again, this past series, he made a decision or two that I didn't love, but for the most part, Rojas, again, he is rallying this club together. And while I know that the team is rallying this club together as well, there's no doubting that they're banking off of one each other. There's no doubting what Luis Rojas is doing is dramatically impacting the clubhouse for the better. He's letting the guys play, and he's making them feel damn comfortable doing it. So is there anything that you would like to add about Rojas' success that has made it so important to the Mets, having now looking easily now 3.5 games above on the division when they still have such a depleted roster on paper?
Yeah, I think Rojas deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. I feel like where we are right now in the standings, you cannot just not give Rojas any credit. We're winning ball games, and he's going to have those in-game decisions where we're scratching our head, but it's really hard to have any manager in baseball to not have in-game decisions where the fan base can question. I feel like even Terry Collins, even though the majority of the fan base loved him, he had some questionable decisions. Rudolph, all these guys have those, we want to keep him in, but he pulls him out, or pinch it there. It's part of the baseball. There's so many in-game decisions for a 162-game season where they're going to make mistakes. But I love that Rojas is bouncing back, and I feel like that he's really, instilling confidence. And like you said, he's letting the players play freely. He's developing relationships with them. He's trying to, brew a culture here. And he is a guy that, I feel like he's developing as a manager. He's so young. I think he's the second youngest manager in baseball. So that's what we have to realize. It's not like he's a very experienced guy. He's been in the Mets organization for a long time, and he knows baseball. So I feel like I'm looking at him as kind of like a prospect, even though he's the active manager. We're developing Luis Rojas to potentially be the future manager. I'm not sold on him to be the future yet.
Neither am I.
I'm giving him credit for what he's done in May. He still has a lot to prove to me personally of what he's done, what he needs to do for the rest of the season, because there's a really good chance that we can win the division this year and we go to the playoffs and we lose in the playoffs and Rojas still isn't back. Like, that's how talented this team is. And if you can get a really good manager, it could take this team to another level. So Rojas, we know that his contract's up. He's not here. He's not inked in for next season, so it's very easy for the Mets to move on. So we'll see, but he definitely deserves credit for what he's done in the month of May and so far this season. I feel like you can't, script up more injuries. If we told you guys how many guys are injured and where we are, you got to realize, like, okay, Rojas knows what he's doing, at least to the perspective of, putting the right guys in, yada, yada, yada. So you guys understand. I feel like Rojas deserves a lot of credit. I am not sold on him to be the future manager yet, but he still has, a lot left to prove to be that guy.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. And I saw a comment earlier in the chat asking where I got my shirt. Actually, subscriber Dave, who sent me this mug, also sent me this Mets shirt that has WardyNYM and number 30 for Conforto on the back. So thank you, my man. And another comment I see here too, which I think is important, and I tend to actually agree with to an extent, from Seth here. And then we're going to get you out here, Richie. It says, since last year, a lot of the worst decisions that have come from Rojas have looked like that they came from a decision that might come from above and affected by some injury we didn't know about. And I think that is true to an extent. You have to realize that how much of Rojas's decision-making is solely on his own versus his counterparts around of him, versus possibly the Zach Scotton or the Sandy Aldersons. How much are they barking in his ear at all, and how much is his supporting cast affecting things? That is important as well. And we don't really know that. When you looked at Mickey Callaway, he was as big of a puppet as any. There was no hiding it. Brodie Van Wagenen was directing him with basically everything. Now, how much impact is the GM and the supporting cast having on Rojas? I don't know, but that's another great thing to take into account. Maybe you're wondering a little suspect on a decision here or there. Just keep down your mind going forward, because I'm trying to be more optimistic in that sense too, because overall, I don't really know how another manager would do. And I feel if this was Mickey Callaway, God forbid, because Mickey Callaway was a perv. I'm not going to get into that, but he's out of baseball as we know now. If he had this current roster, there's no way in hell the Mets would be first in the division. I think we can all agree. And with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for being here. We're going to get Richie out of here. He's going to make an awesome video regarding Thibodeau winning head coach of the year for the MLB on Knicks Media. So make sure to check it out. Richie, any final thoughts before you get out of here? But other than that, guys, make sure to subscribe to Richie and Not Just Mets Media. He's literally right around 10 subs away from 1K. What the hell are you doing? If you haven't subscribed to Richie, make sure you do. He's going to be grinding out. Now that the NBA season's done, he can finally breathe. He's going to get out good Mets content. We're going to be collaborating more, and make sure to check out Knicks Media and Jets Media respectively too, along with his other, I believe, Touchdown Kingdom is it, and also Basketball Kingdom. So a lot of great stuff. Any final thoughts before we let you out of here, Richie?
Yeah, man, always a pleasure to be on Mets Talk, to talk Mets baseball. We're going to be doing it a lot in the next couple of weeks. I mean, what am I talking about? For the entire rest of the season is what we'll be doing. But guys, if you really want to help me out, I'm so close to hitting 1,000 on Mets Media. If you guys don't know, I have a channel. And now that the New York Knicks season is over, I'm going to put a lot more energy into Mets Media. I'm going to be previewing a lot of the series, recapping each series, thinking of creative video ideas, all about the New York Mets. So please, if you guys can go to Mets Media right now and smash that subscribe button, it would mean a lot to me. I'm going to put a lot of time and effort into this channel, and I'm going to be posting consistent content all throughout the season. And Wardy, of course, will be making special appearances all throughout those videos. So appreciate all the support, guys. Let's go Mets. And if you guys are interested, I posted my recap video to the entire series actually today, talking about the Mets versus Padres. So you guys know where to find me. Wardy, always a pleasure, and I'll see you guys soon. Let's go Mets.
Awesome. Let's go Mets, Richie. I appreciate you, my man. So guys, with that being said, I want to actually do a discussion here, and I think it's a really important one, guys. So let's talk about now, before we get into some callers, and we'll be taking upwards of 5+ callers tonight. Let's talk about the Jacob Degrom controversy, shall we? We all know what trended on Twitter the past 24 hours, and I know we got a lot of Mets fans feeling one way, feeling another way about, is Jacob Degrom cheating? Let's break that down, guys. So we're going to put a new banner here. We're going to talk about it. I have a lot that I have to say about it. I'm sure you guys do too, and I'm really excited to see your comments in the chat. I feel that we all kind of have an understanding, but some of us are feeling pretty iffy. So let's clear the air here. Here we go. Again, guys, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe on. Help us get to 100 likes by the end of the stream. It would really mean a lot, guys. And also, help us get to 7K subs. We are literally right around 80 subs away by 7K. We were trying to get there by the end of the day today. So if you enjoy consistent Mets content, if you like banger videos like the one we just came out with the other day, make sure to check it out. I still got to reply comments on that. I've just been so busy. I apologize, guys. And same thing with more live streams on Wednesday and then on Friday as well. We got a lot of great things going. Make sure to check it out, guys. Hey, Wardy, it's been a while. I know we must get a 7K. Absolutely, Leo. How are you, my man? Thanks so much for being here. Hey, where you got my email? Larry, I'll have to double check, my friend, but I appreciate you always, buddy. Thank you all so much for being such a generous friend here. All right, but guys, let's talk about Jacob Degrom. Okay, so if you don't know, a video went viral yesterday regarding Jacob Degrom against the Padres and how, over the past day or so, of him turning on the mound, grabbing his belt, and then briefly touching the inside of his glove, and then, reaching his hand around, like getting rid of sweat and stuff. And people believe that's cheating. Okay. So let me clear the air on the matter. And I also am going to actually, I can't share the screen right now. I'm not able to, but if you guys don't know, on Twitter, the Mets did a whole spiel. All their players, including Tomas Nido, from top down, every Met that basically has a Twitter came out and defended Degrom and said, there's no way in hell he's cheating. He's the best pitcher on the planet. And if he was cheating, imagine how better he would be. People can't hit him as it is, but just imagine him cheating. It would be even a million times worse. So, guys, let's get into what the controversy in the game of baseball has been with cheating. What is the MLB doing right now? And my thoughts on the matter. So, in a nutshell, guys, if you don't know, the MLB has been doing investigations to crack down on substance abuse among pitchers. Now, why do pitchers take advantage of substance abuse? What is, of course, to enhance spin rate. And what does spin rate do normally? When you increase RPMs of your spin rate, it automatically is going to give you better chances at a swing and miss rate against the hitters. It's not fun when you have a guy that has a nasty 12-6 breaking ball with some of the highest RPMs in the game. It really isn't. But here's the one thing about the sticky substances that we've seen going on, and now the MLB is going to start doing investigations where if you're caught using certain substances that are in fact illegal by the MLB's rules, you're going to be suspended for 10 days in the MLB. And I'm not sure if you'll be paid or not. You might not be either. So now that this has come out with Jacob Degrom, after we saw it with Yu Darvish, and we saw it with some relievers I noticed in the Padres series, my stance on the matter is this. Jacob Degrom, if you guys can look up the film yourself, has since the start of the 2014 season, maybe even sooner, has always been touching his damn belt every single game, almost between every single pitch. It's a tick that he normally has, and you can make gripes about him touching his glove, but if you look at the film, he's also been touching his glove for multiple years now. Now, look, could that in fact be pine tar at the end of the day to maybe give him a little bit? Maybe. Sure it could. Would that be surprising me? No, it wouldn't, because basically every pitcher in baseball does it. But there's a clear difference, too, and I honestly don't even stand by the fact that he's doing that. But there's a clear difference, guys, between the obnoxious cheating and the cheating that's been going on in the game inevitably for basically the entirety. There are pitchers out there that use pine tar, that use rosin, that use other things that are helping out, and the hitters actually prefer those things because it helps when it comes to actually hitting off the bat. But when you have other guys that are using this really sticky stuff that's like beyond glue, it looks like Gorilla Glue times 10, it looks like rubber even, they just use a little bit. When they throw that ball, the RPMs are going off the charts with them. We're talking hundreds higher. That's causing nasty break on their off-speed pitches, along with, of course, their nasty changeups and breaking balls, things of that nature. So what is Jacob Degrom doing right now that is going to benefit him with any type of controversy? His RPMs are not up on a career high at all. He has been on a steady incline for the most part with his RPMs throughout his career, but there has been nothing drastic. His fastball is by no means in the high percentile in the MLB whatsoever with his RPMs versus guys, whether you have the Trevor Bauers, the Garrett Coles, this is what they're known for, okay? And now you're seeing a little bit different RPMs since the whole scandal started to come to fruition over the past week in the MLB, which makes you wonder some things. But my point is that Jake, he's a heavy thrower. The RPMs are not up by any stretch of the imagination on a level that would make you think that he's actually cheating. So for the people that want to go out and say that, oh, he's cheating, he's doing this, they're just trying to find reasons because Jacob Degrom, let's face it, without using the crazy sticky stuff, is in a class of his own. And if that upsets you, if you're, say, a fan of an opposing team, I'm sorry if it upsets you. It would upset me, too, if I was a fan of, say, an opposing rival in the league, knowing how damn good Jacob Degrom is. He's just otherworldly. And I would say sit back, enjoy his brilliance, and when all the dust settles, he's still going to come out prevailing without having to have any increased enhancement substances, anything of that nature. So that is my stance on the matter, guys. Let's see. We got it again. You guys can feel however you want about the situation. I'm going to stand with how I stand on the matter. And that's really it, guys. So if you think Jake's cheating, feel free to think he's cheating. But at the end of the day, nothing is going to change with that. If it does, then you can come back here and smack it right in the face to me because I feel that strongly about the matter. The numbers will back it. The RPMs are not going off the charts like we see with the guys that are blatantly cheating, where they're not even trying to hide it. And we've seen it, including in that Padres series. So it does make you wonder, guys. And that's all I really have to say. So with that being said, guys, now we are going to get into some live callers. We'll be taking right around 5 callers like we usually do for each show. So before you guys join the live stream and share a comment or a thought, I wanted to say this to you guys. 1, be respectful. Please do not say anything that you wouldn't say to anyone else that, that you're afraid of, the repercussions or anything of those nature. Be respectful. Okay, let's talk about the Mets. If you have a question or a comment to make regarding the Mets, about the past Padres series, about Jacob Degrom, anything like that, please just make it fairly short because I want to get those 5 callers in a reasonable time. And again, just when you put in your name, please make sure it's the same name as your actual YouTube handle. So that's all I got to say on the matter. We're going to bring live callers in now. And again, guys, thank you all so much for being here. I caught Wardy using a foreign substance. Absolutely. I have gum right here as we speak. And, I might as well play with this, get my fingers a little sticky, right? But with that said, guys, we're going to get into now taking some live callers. Again, I appreciate you all being here. Help us get a 7K subs. It really mean a lot. Today was the deadline. If we don't get it by today, it's not the end of the world at all, though. I did not think that we would get it by today, and we're literally 80 subs away, which is remarkable. So, again, thank you all so much for the consistent support, guys. Now let's get some live callers in here, shall we? I'm excited for this. I hope you guys are too. Again, we'll be taking 5. So after that, guys, if there's anything that happens at this point, after the 5, you're either going to be then kicked from the live stream, not the actual live stream watching it, but you'll be kicked from the software that allows you in, because that means that you didn't make the cutoff. That's all it is. Don't take it personally. It's just because the 5 were already picked, guys. So I'm going to get in here now. I'm going to copy this, going to put in. So here, come join the stream. And yeah, guys, nothing crazy in the chat, please. No nonsense. That's all I ask from you, as always. Be respectful. And I did in fact watch the Mayweather fight yesterday. No, I did not pay for it because I'm not a fool. I watched it, and it was exactly what I expected it to be quite frank. I did not expect anything drastic whatsoever. So that's my stance on the matter. I don't even know why I put in gum, to be quite honest. Oh, guys. All right, guys, we already got our 5 callers, guys. So I see Zeus, I see Stephen A, we see Tremont, Ryan, and Josh. If anyone comes in after that, like Larry, I'm sorry, Larry, you just missed the cutoff. If someone exits, though, then I'll bring you in, Larry. I see others. So, guys, if you want to hang in for a little bit, you can. If someone ends up leaving. But as of now, we have our 5. So if you don't make the call, please don't take it personally. It's just because we made our 5 callers of the day. Worried to go. Oh, you're awesome, my man. I appreciate that. So now let's get into our first caller. And I'm not surprised by this at all. It is, in fact, Zeus. My man, Hello. How are you today, buddy?
Hi, how are you doing? I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know we got a lot of people in line. So
no, that's fine. Let me hear what you got to say, buddy.
Yeah. So how about quickly, let's discuss 2 things. Third base and rotation. We'll start with third base. So I want to start with you. Of all the third basemen who could possibly be on the market, who would you want for the team?
Realistically, or like more of what I would absolutely love to happen?
Let's say a mixture of both. So like J-Ram, Chapman, Bryant, those kind of people.
Okay, well, J-Ram, I think, is a pipe dream, and on the outside looking in, because even with Cleveland not doing great this year, J-Ram's going to cost a lot, and I'm concerned about how much the Mets would have to cough up in that situation. I think guys that are more realistic, to be quite honest with you, are ones, whether it's a Chapman, even though the A's are still competitive this year, Chapman has not had the best year. He's not looked necessarily the best on a night-to-night basis since he came off of his hip surgery, so it's something to keep in mind. But Chapman would also take a haul, so I think he's more unrealistic. I will hold this to me. I know that they're doing really well right now, but I do think Chris Bryant is still a possibility, and I'm going to stand by that because there's a lot of baseball left until the deadline for the Cubs. But Chris Bryant, I think, a little bit more of a pipe dream, but the Mets can get the job done should they wish, should the Cubs be really adamant by selling. But I have a feeling they're going to run if they continue this reign at least. And more the realistic route, I would say, and a guy like Eduardo Escobar stands out increasingly more by the day for me as a guy I wasn't sold on originally. I talked about him in one of my trade videos, so check it out, guys, if you haven't. Escobar can play all throughout the infield, not first base. He has a lot of pop in his bat, not high would average, but he's ideal. He's on a short-term contract, and the Mets can utilize him in any way. He's a big home run hitter, and the Mets have lacked, up until this West Coast trip, coincidentally enough, home runs. And that's what Escobar has been bringing this season. He has a plethora of RBIs. He's been high there, just not high with average. So Escobar, I think, is actually probably one of the more realistic picks. And I think Kyle Seager isn't too far off, even though Seager does make a lot of money this year. So I can tell you one thing. If the Mets land a guy like Seager, they're definitely not going for Bryant, but the Mets will not commit to Seager after the season more than likely unless he has an awesome year, because Seager, there is a club option after the season, so it's up to the Mets if they would want to pick that up or not, and odds are I'd assume that they probably wouldn't as long as they didn't give up too much.
Yeah. Okay. So you think Bryant? Okay. So obviously I'm gonna go with J-Ram, but that might not be that. They did a trade with us for Lindor, so you don't know if they'd want to trade their team to us. But J-Ram, in my opinion, is clearly the best player of all of them.
I think you can argue he's probably the best, but whether he's the most realistic or not is a different story.
That's a different story, exactly.
Yeah,
but even then, I mean, I don't really want Chris Bryant personally, and that's because his defense is meh. My biggest concern, he gets the job done, but like I would personally, I would rather have Matt Chapman than Chris Bryant.
If we're talking from an old, like a well-rounded third baseman, it's Matt Chapman. If it's not Nolan Arenado, it's Matt Chapman.
Yeah, but I think if we do want Chris Bryant, I say just wait it out, because the Cubs aren't trading him. They're doing pretty well,
and that's something that could very well happen as well. Look, if Chris Bryant finishes out the season with the Cubs, odds are he's not going to stay with them after the season. We could see multiple guys part ways with the Cubs possibly.
Absolutely.
So if the Mets want to go free agent route, they can. They just know that they're going to have to cough up a pretty penny. So if that's something you want, I'm fine with that, as long as it isn't an issue for Mr. Steve Cohen. I mean, look, I'm all ears. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. I don't really think Chris Bryant's going to maintain this level of play much longer. Because there's a difference between, like, quote unquote luck and but he is hitting very well, but I just don't see it sustaining this much longer, especially not in New York. I mean, and
he's playing in a big market though. Remember that Chicago ain't no slouch.
But like the New York media, it is.
Oh yeah, it's different. We know that.
But like obviously, the only guy I would really consider trading for, if I were going to trade for anybody, I would push for J-Ram, which I'm not even sure we would even. But if there's anyone who I really think it's worth push to get this guy, it would be J-Ram, because JD could be our DH next year if we want to hold on to him. And there are many possibilities. I'm not sure the Mets would trade for Kyle Seager and kind of push JD off under the bus that way, or
JD needs to get healthy though too. So don't be surprised if the Mets address third base, whether it's short term or long term, regardless.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I'm not sure how many control years J-Ram has. Sorry,
he has at least 2.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 control years. Okay. I would only push for J-Ram because I just think he's far and away the best one. But Bryant would be the most realistic simply because he's on a contract year. Would be
okay. And with saying that, what is your rotation question?
Okay. As regards to the rotation, I really think we got to get some of these guys back, and because I do have a couple concerns, even with some of the guys who are pitching really well. Mainly, I'm worried that Taiwan's is gonna decline quite a bit soon, and I'm my hope is that he finishes the season like the mid 3s in ERA.
I can see Taiwan finishing the season with a 3 or 3.5 ERA, which would still be beyond good.
Yeah, absolutely. But honestly, I think there's a problem I'm seeing is that I think we're looking at Taiwan's ERA, and I think we're acting like he is some like brilliant. He was a brilliant signing, especially missing out on Bauer. When really, if you look at the earned run average, which at the end of the day, this is a sport about like giving up runs or giving up least runs. He has a lower ERA than Trevor Bauer. However, if you go into like his more advanced metrics.
No, he isn't all that pretty. He's a guy that gets some luck. He definitely has had some really lucky outings this year. But I think just to kind of
lucky this year.
Yeah, but I will say this though. At the end of the day, you still have to get both. They have to go in hand with each other, and Walker's able to do that. He's been sustaining that. So as long Walker with the fully healthy rotation could find himself as a 5th starter, and right now he's the Mets number 2, and that's all to his play. along with the injuries. I think that's important. So my concern for the rotation personally is Mr. David Peterson. I know we both like David. He needs to get more innings under his belt. I think he's deserving of going to the minors and really kind of reshape himself when the Mets can. That one in hand, one of my last video on Mets starting pitching options out of the club. So I would definitely reassess that. But yeah, I think that the Mets, they need Cookie back and they need him to perform like we hope he will. But they also are not going to be banking the end all on Cookie and Thor coming back, and Thor is looking less and less likely by the day of the season. So the rotation is not solidified, and I don't think it's going to look this way for the entirety of the year.
Yeah, I think we're at least going to get Carrasco back, barring some another injury. But I think David Peterson, I like him. I really do believe in him. I'm not saying I think he's going to be really effective this year. I don't think this is his year. Sophomore slump happens all the time, but I have to maybe make some people happy, even though he's a lefty. There are some trajectory similarities to Giolito. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star by next year.
He has to go through his growing pains before he becomes Giolito, just like Giolito did.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. But like I said in the chat, I think David Peterson, I truly think this guy is everything Steven Matz isn't. This guy, I only see him improving. And I've seen many examples of him resurging after a really bad start or getting he kind of does have a bulldog mentality, and he has showed it. He's struggling, and sometimes he can't really control that, but it's going to happen. He's young. I think maybe moving him to AAA would be beneficial. Just he has to work on his game. He has. I think David Peterson's the kind of guy who I see to have the drive to really want to get better. I've seen,
absolutely.
Seen his potential.
And he knows he's on the outside looking in right now, more for the remainder of the year. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. But Cerise, I apologize. I'm going to have to cut you off, buddy, just because we got
no worries,
people
man.
waiting.
You got a stream going, man.
No problem. You have a good rest of your night as always. I appreciate you chiming in, my man. Bye-bye. And guys, thank you all so much for chiming in. I hope you guys have been enjoying. Zurice, always fun guest to have chiming in. Now we got another regular, that being Steven. Steven, my man, how are you today?
Going up, man. Wardy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
All right. He had me in the beginning. I was listening to him.
I was watching you.
Yeah. But then when he started talking about rotation, I was like, oh my God, how could he not think to have faith in our rotation and our bullpen has kept us in first place? Our injuries.
I see what let me put it this way. Things are really good right now. Yeah. But it's okay to be a little concerned long term because we are only 50 games into a 162.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to preach more confidence to Met fans.
I agree. I can agree with that.
I'm just trying to be the bearer, because I've never been that kind of a Met fan. I've always been feisty. I've always been my team's gonna do good, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm
trying to be the optimist to the pessimist.
Yeah, man. I can't be that. I'm not that type of person. I can't be that. I cannot.
I love that. That's good.
But I've gone on here because I wanted to talk about Jacob Degrom. He is not cheating. I watched him all the time. He's my favorite. He is not cheating. He's dominant every year. So if there was a time he was cheating, they would have caught that a long time ago. He's not cheating, man. It's ridiculous to even say that. And going on from that, just want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think I kind of said them all, but in a nutshell, look, I'm going to put it this way. I'm not going to say it's impossible that Jacob Degrom hasn't maybe been using a little pine tar or something because it's so common in the game of baseball. It's almost bizarre if you're not. There are Mets pitchers that I know. I saw Stroman in spring cheating. I've seen Diaz cheat. This is not uncommon. It's just a matter of how are they doing it? In what kind of way are they doing it? Does it go against the MLB right now because they have their unwritten rules? For Rojas to go out and say, let's put it in perspective, shall we? Yu Darvish, we all saw what he did. We all saw what multiple Padres pitchers did. They've been doing it all year, right? It's a West Coast thing. The Angels, the Padres, even though the Angels clearly don't do it enough because they still suck at pitching. But you have the Padres. They were blamed at game one. Rojas didn't say a damn thing.
Game one, we should have won game one. We should have had
we should have could have would. We could have swept the series, right? Yeah. But my point though is that Rojas after game one said he didn't know anything about Darvish and he didn't think anything of it. Do I think that was genuine? No. I think Rojas is not trying to point any fingers because just like any other fellow manager, they have their unwritten rules. Why are you going to call out something when you know damn well you got people on your staff probably doing something either similar or just has, it's common. I highly doubt that there's even one clubhouse in the MLB right now that has nothing that's at least a little hazy. So my point, though, is that Jake isn't doing the crazy sticky tack that we're seeing these guys like Degrom and Cole doing. That's making their RPMs go 400, 500 plus up. That's giving them their nasty break. Is the reason why they got their massive contracts. Because Cole, let's put it this way, if Cole didn't have these substances, he would be a shell of what he is right now. Because Cole, even in his prime during his time with the Pirates, wasn't this good by a launch shot. Same thing now with Trevor Bauer, but Bauer's open. I'm not even really bothered by Bauer doing it because he's the same guy that called out the MLB years ago, and they turned a blind eye to him. So he's basically doing it as an FU. Look, do what you want. Like I know that a lot of people aren't Bauer fans, and I'm not the biggest Bauer lover myself, but I don't dislike him for that. Let's put it that way, because he's not at fault for what he's doing. He's just taking advantage because the MLB has not done anything about it. But now, because Bauer's always been so anti-MLB, they're using him as a showcase to really point out.
If he's doing that, he's still cheating. It's not.
No, I'm not saying he's not.
No,
I'm just saying it doesn't bother me in the way that it has with others.
Yeah, well, getting on from the to trading, I'm thinking that third base, like he said, Zaire, I think you should go after Jose Ramirez or Chapman or like you said, a Chris Bryant, but either one of those guys and a starting pitcher, maybe if we can get that, because definitely we do need another power hitter besides Lindor and other stuff, like because we got guys still on the IL, so we need a big boost. We need to separate ourselves from the National East. Like we need to create more of a separation.
You want cut 3.5? Beautiful. The Mets haven't done that in literally 6 years. But do you want? With the division currently right now, let's get it to 7. Right? Let's
give
really
it 7
cut up
or
the
10. That's what I want. Give it 7 or 10.
Yeah, let's get a little selfish. I think we deserve it. I don't think that's
exactly. Dan, I've been saying that it's our turn. It's our time.
I agree with you, my man. But Steven, as always, I appreciate it, my man. Is there any last thoughts you want to get before we get out of here?
No, that's about it. Keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate you. You're a legend, and everybody else that's confident. Keep up the confidence. Not the don't be like scared of Met fan. That's not who we are anymore. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I really do. Well, thank you, Steven. I appreciate you, brother, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Awesome stuff from Steven as always. Now let's get in another guest, that being in Tremont. Tremont, do you hear me, my friend? Let's see. We'll give Tremont a minute.
Yes,
you hear me?
Do. What's up, Wardy? How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, my man?
Yes, Wardy, I do.
Awesome. What's up, buddy?
Here. Today is a great day to be. It's a great day to be a Met fan today. The Yankees are in 4th place. They're sinking, and we are in 1st place. And it's June 7th. And when was the last time we were in 1st place in June 7th? 5 years ago, right?
6.
I just wanted to get into this Padres series. This Padres series really brought up my optimism on this team. The fact that we were able to go and at least split the series. I was expecting for us to lose 3 out of 4, or even get swept. The fact that we split the series with the Padres with half of our lineup out. It's incredible. I could not believe how we did this, but we did it. We are 1st place. We are 6 games over 500, and I'm just really pumped as a Met fan. And tomorrow we gotta beat the Orioles. I expect no more less than a split, since it's a 2-game series. We should be able to kill Harvey. I do not know that much about the lefty we're facing tomorrow, but I'm pretty confident our offense will.
So this year he has a sub-5 ERA on the year, so I think it's a fair matchup against Pearson right now.
So another thing I wanted to talk about is trade. If the Mets are alive by the trading deadline and not sinking, because we all know the Mets how they do in June in past years. If I have to bring it back 19, 18, even 17, we are never a good June team.
No, we have not.
25 June, I remember that really sunk the team, which means they need to climb back out of that hole. And of course, in 2019, that showed they missed the playoffs by 3 games, and it all came back to haunt us because of that June that we had. So, what I was thinking about we could do in the deadline, we should trade for Bryant. I think Sandy Alderson needs to trade for Bryant. I know it's gonna be a rental, but the Cubs they will trade Bryant. I mean, I don't see how. They need to get something back for all those players that are departing from their team after the season. They're not gonna resign all of them. They probably will retain Rizzo or Baez, but they will not keep Contreras and Bryant. So they will have to give up. A package that I could propose is that we could give up J.D. Davis and Ronnie Mauricio. What do you think about that package?
I'm not willing to give up Mauricio for Bryant with their no certainty that the Mets are going to try hard to keep him long term. If it's a situation like how the Dodgers landed Machado, and then they know that Machado walks in the offseason and Machado goes to their biggest rival in the Padres, no less, I'm not okay with that, especially with how well Mauricio's done this year. He's been opening my eyes, and the Mets' big 3 prospects have been really opening my eyes, and that's a hint of the next video, very possibly. So I'm not okay with giving up Mauricio, a top prospect like that, for Bryant, with no certainty that you're going to extend him. And there is this adamant certainty, like the Mets did with Lindor, basically, where they are going to keep him long term. Then I am in far more favor for it, because at that point there really is no room for Mauricio on the roster unless they want to try to work him into a second baseman. I know that they're toying with outfield, but Mauricio's a shortstop guy. He's been viewed as a third baseman to a lot of guys. If you have Brian and Lindor locked up there long term, then yeah, I can favor that more. But until that point, unless that certainty's there, I'm not in favor of parting away with Mauricio there.
And I want to talk about Lindor for a second. It looks like he's breaking out a little bit.
Oh, I think it's a lot of it.
So
I think we're seeing the best
right
Lindor we've ever seen.
I've seen Lindor. I've been a Lindor fan, not even, but I know I'm a Met fan, but before when he was in Cleveland, I always used to watch the Lindor. And when he's on his game and A+ Lindor, in my opinion, he is on Tatis's level when he's 100% Lindor. He could be on Tatis's level, maybe slightly lower, but he will be on that level when Lindor's right. He's just too good of a player. And everybody has been giving him criticism about his slow start, but people need to understand he is adjusting to the a new league. He's not in the American League anymore. He's adjusting to National League pitching. He has to adjust. If he doesn't adjust to National League pitching, he's never going to hit. And
Same
that
thing goes with
transition,
McCann.
exactly, for McCann too. He's what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. And then I'm going to have to get you out of here, Tremont, but to kind of conclude these, you're right. I think the AL-NL factor did not really hit enough Mets fans' heads, especially early in the year. And don't get me wrong, Lindor was dreadful and McCann was dreadful. Offensively, horrid. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They had a terrible start to their careers as a New York Mets. But what we're seeing now, especially in this West Coast trip, which is nice to see, they're both coincidentally around the same time really starting to break out together. And McCann's more of a big swing and miss guy. Lindor is a guy that usually is going to be more contact, even though he had a home run against the Padres. But it's really exciting to see. Lindor's really been hitting the ball well. He looks the most confident by far. And Lindor's gained more serviceable outs as well. He's gained outs that really aren't looking that lousy. The only thing that's been sucking with him still is the breaking ball. This guy really struggles breaking ball, but even then, he's been doing some better at-bats against some change-ups and some others. But as long as Lindor continues this direction, I think that everything's going to be fine. But with that being said, Tremont, I'm going to have to get you out of here, buddy, but thank you so much. Any last words before?
Wardy, I have one more statement. Yes.
Sure.
What I saw with the Padres series, I see that the Mets could beat any team in baseball right now.
Yeah.
Any team in baseball, because the Padres are arguably the best team in baseball if you want to go by talent-wise.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The Mets are doing remarkable things with such a depleted roster. It makes you think what they are going to do once they're fully healthy. Maybe made some trade acquisitions to help run out things. Yeah, I think this is the floor for the Mets. Now, how high is that ceiling? It's looking pretty damn high.
Thank you, Wardy, for taking my call. Have a good day.
Thank you, Tremont. You too, buddy. Always appreciate you. I've seen you in the chat plenty. So thank you so much, my man. So, guys, we're going to just take two more callers now. Then we're going to get out of here. And next one is going to be Josh. Josh, do you hear me, buddy?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Josh. How are you, my man?
How you doing?
I'm good.
So my first question, well, not really a question, it's more of a statement, but
Go for it.
why is everyone trying to discredit the Mets? Like, especially on Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of people say like, "Oh, the Mets are in the worst division, and that's the only reason why they're succeeding right now." And like, especially because yesterday the Braves just beat the Dodgers in the series, and no one's talking about that. Like they're saying, and before the season, the Braves were considered a World Series contender. Like they were in the NLCS last year.
Yep.
And that just all went away because now, I mean, they haven't been that good this season, but they're still a good team. And,
Absolutely.
I feel like, and especially with the Degrom stuff now that he was cheating apparently, which is like he's not cheating, but you know. And I just feel like everyone's trying to discredit our success. It's kind of annoying, to be honest.
Oh, preaching to the choir. Look, people love to hate on the Mets. And granted, I'm a Mets fan. Is there bias there? Absolutely. Is it mainly because I see it more than an average MLB fan would? Absolutely. But the Mets are always trying to be pushed in the corner, kicked to the side. And there are fans out there that I think feel this way about them because the Mets have been hyped up in years prior, the past 5 years, and they've fallen short some seasons really big. So the media, though, has not been a fan of the Mets. They give credit when credit's due, but there's also been a lot of, obnoxious things going, just trying to fill a narrative. But people are scared of the Mets, okay? People are not realizing what the Mets are doing, and let them be the damn underdog. The Mets are known as the underdog club, all right? And let them continue that going into now being a top dog, because look, I know Yanks fans hate to see it, and I'm sorry AB doesn't like this too, but the Mets are the better team in NY right now, and the Mets are going to continue to be on the same level as the Yankees, if not better, for the foreseeable future, as long as Steve Cohen is owner, because of the new actual guys that they have running the show, the guys that they're bringing in to actually play. The Mets are not the LOL Mets anymore. The Mets are not the second team in New York. They're for as long as Steve Cohen is owner, they're not going to be the little dog. They're not. They're going to be at least the same level of big dog, if not bigger. And that's exciting. And people need to start waking up to that, because the more that they don't, the more they're going to be smacked in the face with reality when the Mets are coming to try to win it all.
Yeah, I agree. I also like the underdog role.
I do too. Mets are blue collar, and I like that. I hope that kind of mentality stays, because it gives them a fight in them that I'm not sure if they would have if they were kind of more, quote unquote white collar, if you will, like too conformist. Like we don't need to have our team shaving their beards in order to become a New York Met. You know what I mean? Like it's little things like that.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say is well, Lindor's been hot recently, but obviously he didn't start that great.
No, not at all.
But I feel like this team is just better because of him. Like just simply his presence.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. Like it does matter if he's doing good or bad, but I think his presence has just makes this team way better. Like he's a great teammate. He's always cheering everyone on the dugout. So I think he's been a big part, even if he hasn't been so good. And the last thing I wanted to say is a lot of people have been saying that they want to trade for Chris Bryant or like J-Ram, whatever. But the more I think about it, I think it comes at a cost of someone else. Like not just a prospect, like another player on this team that is going to get an extension at the end of this year, like Stroman or Conforto. Because, well, obviously if we get Bryant, we have to extend him if we're going to give up a big prospect like Mauricio. And he's going to get a lot of money. So I was just thinking, like, if we get Bryant, like, Conforto will probably leave. Or do you think that, obviously Cohen's the richest owner in sports, but do you think that he would pay, like, that much money?
The Mets are not going to allow Conforto to walk unless one of two scenarios happens. One, Conforto does not want to stay with the club, and he doesn't make much of a willingness to reach an agreement. Or two, the Mets don't prioritize Conforto and allow him to walk, not because they can't afford him, but simply because they don't feel he's deserving of what really on the market value what he's deserving. That's my only concern with Conforto and staying with his club long term. I do not stand behind the notion that the Mets simply cannot keep Conforto should they get Bryant and extend him long term. The Dodgers have by far and away the biggest payroll in baseball and are way over the luxury tax. Stupid. They don't have any problem dealing with those penalties, and they're not going to have a problem with it continuing because they can afford the repercussions. They know how much they're gaining revenue-wise from either fan attendance or, all these different things. And, the Mets, as long as they continue their winning culture, the value for the club is going to continue to go up. And again, I truly believe that if Conforto leaves the team in the offseason, it'll be more so on the Mets than it will on Conforto.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say before I get out of here is just this series was really big for us, like to split against one of the best teams in MLB with half our roster is just really making me feel a little better about this team and that they are for real. And
yeah, man. No, you're absolutely right, Josh. I think it's only positives we can take out of this split against the Padres. So with saying that, Josh, thank you so much for chiming in, buddy. It means a lot. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much to Josh again. And guys, our final caller, I know we have other people waiting. I apologize because we're up to our fifth caller. It is, in fact, going to be Larry. Larry, you lucked out because someone left earlier. So, Larry, I'm bringing you in now, and you're going to be our final caller. So feel free to share your comments or thoughts. Larry, how are you today, my friend?
All right. I just wanted to say I sent you an email about breaking news yesterday about when about the Mets signed a minor leaguer, Perallo.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah, I think if they bring him up, he's going to do good for the Mets. And if the Mets still have the Wilpons, the Mets wouldn't be doing all these signings with Blackwell, and all these people who get signing since the injury. If they still have the Wilpons, I'm glad they got Cohen because they wouldn't be signing all these guys with all these injuries. So thank God they got Cohen. And I'm glad they got Cohen because Cohen cares about the Mets, and I'm glad because the bench mob is doing their job, sign all these bench mobs. And who cares about the guy in Toronto, the defensive theater in Toronto? Sign these bench mobs. And sign Tomas Nido. We need Tomas Nido. Sign him. Sign all these bench mobs to a lengthy contract. We need them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Larry. And I want to say, first of all, thank you again for your generosity between the donations. And I know the Mets koozie and all those things. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. But yeah, you're right. The bench mob's huge. And I'm curious going into the offseason what the Mets are going to do with guys like I know Kevin Pillar's on a multi-year contract. Jonathan Villar is not. I think you have to make sure you keep Jonathan Villar at this point for at least another season, right? But yeah, you're right. Tomas Nido still has a couple years of control. I think he has arbitration eligibility, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon, I don't believe. But yeah, I agree with you. Keep the bench mob. They're rolling really well right now. And just again, Larry, I appreciate all that you've done in supporting the channel. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, no problem. And let's go Mets. And on the radio, when I was listening to radio, they say that they're going we're going to have a hard stretch with San Diego and the Cubs coming in, and with Baltimore. So it's going to be a hard stretch coming in. So so the Mets is going to have a hard stretch. So let's keep it going, and let's go Mets.
Yeah, let's go Mets. Absolutely, Larry. Have a great rest of your night, buddy. And with that being said, guys, that's going to conclude this stream tonight. We're not taking any more callers. I apologize to people waiting. Like I said, we were just doing 5. Usually do it around 5 because it does take up a good amount of time, as you guys can see. But I enjoyed it so much, and I hope you guys do too. So again, thank you all so much for being here, guys. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you all a great rest of your day. Please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Again, if you enjoyed the stream, guys, this was a plenty fun. I'm excited for our next Mets talk. We'll be doing at the end of the probably I think if there's an off day after the Orioles series, I'm not sure. Either way, we'll try to get a Mets talking after the Orioles series. But have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much. Help us get a 7K subs. We're now we're right around 70 away. You guys are tremendous. We got new subscribers. If you're new to the channel, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And thank you all so much for the continued support. Stay tuned. New video coming out on the channel tomorrow. Might have to with some of your favorite prospects within the Mets organization. We'll be live on Wednesday, if you guys don't know, for the game between Matt Harvey and Taiwan Walker. And then we will also be having a Mets talk probably after that. And then we will be live, of course, Friday. I'm trying to aim and do the live stream for Jacob Degrom on the hill against the Padres, this time at our home of Queens. So, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Brandon, Max, all of you. Have a great night, everybody, and let's go Mets.